Okay, everyone, thank you for joining. I am Kevin Bradford, the Research and Writing Support Librarian at the Georgia campus of the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. My position is a blended one. One half of me is a traditional medical librarian. The other half of me is writing support for our medical students in our allied health programs here at PCOM. I serve all three campuses. And this is my particular interest at this time, as well as a very timely and popular topic. So this is going to be a niche talk, and we only have about 25 minutes, so this is going to be a real quick run through. This is going to be kind of my experiences with working with selected tools for medical writing, so it's not going to be comprehensive. I mean, that would take like a workshop a week or so. So we're going to have a really quick intro. I'm going to share with you some resources that I found that I think will be helpful to you. One of which in particular, which we're going to get to, this is the spoiler alert, I think it's going to be a game changer for those of you who are in education. So without further ado, let me minimize this visual window here and get that out of the way so that we can share more of my screen. So the title is Artificial Intelligence Applications in Medical Writing. And our outline and objectives for this session is to talk about the significance of AI in medical education, and particularly professional communications and writing. So I'm going to be working with specific applications, as I said, some of my favorites, the ones that I use the most. We're going to talk briefly about prompting for targeted responses. Kyle and the last scholarly snippets went into far more detail, but I have a couple of things I think to add to that, resources that I think will help you. So we're going to focus on the drafting and editing and proofreading tools, ChatGPT, which I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with, Microsoft's Copilot, and also Grammarly. And I'll talk about why I included Grammarly in this AI toolset as we get to that topic. So artificial intelligence in medical education and professional communication, I think we need a definition to start. Many of you know this, but it doesn't help to reiterate it. Artificial intelligence defined is generative language models that utilize user-provided text inputs called prompts and to create new and unique outputs such as images or written text. As a writer, I'm not interested in images per se, so we're just going to work textually and think textually for this particular workshop. Pattern recognition training helps AI to learn from online content, and it chooses responses from a number of possible text options. So what that basically means is that AI doesn't have it all in its head in terms of a response to you. It builds word by word, but it does so at such a rapid flash pace that it's impossible to discern that what AI is doing is selecting words, and then when it comes to the following word, it's selecting the most logical word to follow that. So it builds, but it builds so rapidly that we're talking nanoseconds. So these AI generative models, as exciting as they are and as useful as they are, and the fact that they're here to stay, these also raise several complex questions, two of which among are ownership of AI-generated content and the ethical considerations of using these tools. And I'll talk more about that later as we progress through the slides. Let's see if I can move that down. Oh, okay. So working with specific applications, I've already given you the alert that we're looking at ChatGPT, Grammarly, and Microsoft's Copilot. I wonder if I can eliminate that. Probably not. So one of the websites I want to show, one of the only websites I'm going to show you in this workshop is the Generative AI Product Tracker. This is what I mentioned in the introduction as the game changer. So this tool lists generative AI products that are either marketed specifically towards post-secondary faculty or students, or appear to be actively in use by these groups. The tracker is a living document. So if I'm successful, we'll get there in a moment. Um, okay. All right. Hopefully everyone can see this website. It is from Ithaca, which is a nonprofit organization that assists academic institutions with um, progressive educational techniques and methods and tools. And this tool called Generative AI Product Tracker is either available here on the web, or you can get a Google Doc version of the same. So as a living document, it's updated continually. And well, artificial intelligence as an educational tool has only really been with us for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years at the most. It really exploded on the scene last year. So what this does is it breaks down the tools with descriptors, and it will also give you some breakdown as to whether they are discovery tools, general tools, um, and some of these tools. I know I'm whipping by really quickly on this, but in terms of a game changer, let me tell you that in my future workshops and educational sessions, as I work with our students and our programs, I'm working in the AI versions of some of our subscribed resources. Scopus, for instance, has an AI tool. Many of the typically subscribed applications for health sciences universities and graduate schools um, already have AI components within them. So what I plan to do basically is not only acquaint myself with these tools going forward, but kind of teaching the AI version side by side with the traditional methods of how we search. So yes, definitely a game changer. The tools are here, they're not going away. Our students are already using them. So it behooves us as educators to be on track with this and to keep up with things, difficult as it may be. But this tool is fabulous. I highly encourage you take a look at it. Okay, let's go back to full screen. Okay, so that's Ithaca's generative AI product tracker. Again, it's fabulous. Okay, so briefly about ChatGPT, that's the first of the three tools we're going to look at. ChatGPT, for those of you who don't know, it's a chatbot and virtual assistant. It's based on large language models. It enables users to refine and steer a conversation towards a desired length, format, style, level of detail, and language. It's been with us since late 2022. Now, typically we think of the developers OpenAI as first in mind, but Microsoft is in on this game too. And that's important to note as I talk about one of the other tools in our talk today. So it's OpenAI with Microsoft in terms of ChatGPT operating and running and creating. So Kyle, in our last session, he went into great detail on prompting. But what I thought would be useful here is this little chart on the right. Authors and researchers should do their own lit review. So if you're an instructor, teacher, with your students, tell them that they need to do their own literature review. Artificial intelligence tools cannot do that effectively. If you use bullet descriptors, you should be able to input those in order to get a linguistically coherent text out of that. So this particular spreadsheet is from Innovation Training, and I have a web link to that as well. So on this, on this chart, move that out of the way. So intrusive, all these little controls. This four prompt types: text generation, which is to generate coherent and creative texts; question answering, so that you can obtain accurate answers to your specific questions; idea generation, which I absolutely love. These tools are great to help you with brainstorming and generating new and unique ideas. I use these tools for outlining and coming up with topics. Great tools for that. And also the fourth tool, content optimization for specific goals, in particular, search engine optimization. So I'm not going to go into the tips. You can read those on your own when you take a look at the recording. So if anybody wants a copy of this PowerPoint, you're more than welcome to that. And at the end of the presentation, I'll pop in to the chat my email address. Okay. So here again, we have advantages and disadvantages to each of these tools. It's important to be familiar with both, how well they work, and where they fall short. So ChatGPT allows you and our students to have improved efficiency and accuracy. It's excellent at suggesting potential topics and subtopics based on current trends. And I'm going to show you a screenshot of ChatGPT as well as Microsoft's Copilot and see how they did and compare that. I did ask a question. And an automated summarization of medical literature. There's an example I gave you. Provide me a few key points regarding the use of anticoagulation in COVID-19. So they're very clinically useful, these tools. And on the right here, I have a summary of the uses of GPT or AI in general in medical writing created by human authors. So patient care, medical publishing, medical administration, and provider education. So, and then there's subgroups within here. So article generation, literature review, etc. So there are quite a number of useful applications already, and applications within applications that AI writing tools can help with. Okay, along with the good comes the bad. One of the things that you have to watch out for, or phenomenons, I should say, for AI writing tools, including ChatGPT, are what's called hallucinations. Recent data is not available to ChatGPT 3.5. That's the basic introductory free version. It is unable to effectively capture the nuance of case reports. So there's interpretive shortcomings with this tool. It does not replace human thought. It does not replace human knowledge and expertise. And the third, more directly keyed to hallucination, is the lack of accurate citations. It lies when it comes to citations. Sometimes it gets it right. Very often it'll just get you, like, give you a partial, really vague sort of a citation. Just as an example, I kind of tracked and followed this down as far as I could down the rabbit hole. But one of my side interests that I've been involved with for a number of years is medieval genealogy, and I've had some of my research published. And so I Googled, I chat GPT'd myself. I asked ChatGPT, I gave my name, and can you give a review or summary of Kevin Bradford's contributions to the field of medieval genealogy? So it did so, and then it gave these citations that were somewhat vague, but it enabled me to drill all the way down, and I discovered that it's tracking news groups in many instances. And the news group that it sourced from was a news group, an automated news group founded by a 19-year-old kid back in the O's. So it's surprising where these come from. So obviously, you want to be very, very careful with the sourcing on ChatGPT whenever you're asking it specific questions. All right, so there's less innovation as a possibility. And this is not only in terms of a general user, but I'm talking more specifically here about our students. And there definitely is a concern among educators about this. And the concern is, over time, automated text generation tools and coursework and assignments could very well lead to fewer engaged students. Why should they bother using their brain? If they can come up with really convincing looking summaries and paraphrases for their assignments. So that can lead to over reliance, which can lead to a reduction in creative and critical thinking. Now, there are certainly remedies for this, and some of them that I have read is reverse engineering the results. Some educators have included components within their coursework where, okay, use the AI tool, go ahead, knock yourself out, but we're going to have an assignment for you where you are required to break it down and explain why your AI tool came up with the reasoning that it did. So therefore, we re-engage our students with these tools. That's just one of the ways that we can take a look at that and address these concerns. Well, of course, the standard initial first run fear would be plagiarism and other ethical considerations. Uh, these tools can have errors or bias within the generated text. It stores user data. Typically, ChatGPT in particular, it only knows what it's seen. One of the factors that's kind of really funny to me is it can't do math at all. I asked it to do a basic multiplication question 4 different times, and it gave me 4 different answers, all of which were close to the actual answer. Couldn't give the exact answer because it hadn't seen that particular math problem. So therefore, it cannot perform experiments or data collection either. The generated text that it provides often mimics the existing medical literature because then again, here again, it only knows what it's seen. And ChatGPT and these AI tools, they don't yet offer self-criticism. In other words, you can't ask ChatGPT or some of these other tools, okay, check your work for me. So an example is PMID numbers correlated to different papers. So where they might get the paper correct, they may miss the PubMed ID. So again, part of the problem of, well, our citations are not complete, or they're incorrect, or they're just simply downright fibs. Here's another big one. Can a chatbot be granted authorship? In most instances, most organizations, institutions will say no. The Committee on Publication Ethics says a clear no, and I have a link there. We're not going to go visit it, but the Committee on Publication Ethics isn't the only organization or nonprofit institution that's got a word on this. And without belaboring the point, there has to be a human involvement here. There has to be a human review of the results that we get from artificial intelligence responses. So medical writers, e.g. humans, are still needed for the oversight of these tools. Patient privacy and ethics require human judgment, and humans provide authorship and accountability for the content which is generated. Okay, so that's ChatGPT. Another one of the tools that I use is Microsoft's Copilot. And while I'm working on Windows 10 on this particular laptop at work, my own personal laptop is Windows 11, and the browser that I use is Microsoft Edge. So you can use Microsoft's Copilot if you don't have Edge or Windows 11. There's other applications where you can use it as well. In Microsoft Edge, it's ubiquitous. Sometimes it pops up when I don't want it to. But I haven't bothered with resetting that. I'm perfectly fine with it popping up alongside my research. So what is Copilot? It's a conversational chat interface that lets you search for specific information, generate text, such as emails and summaries, and create images. Again, images are not what we're talking about here, based on text prompts that you write. For example, if you type in summarize, and I have that in red for a reason, this memo in 2 sentences, Copilot will give you a concise written summary in the chat interface below your request. So this sounds an awful lot like ChatGPT, doesn't it? Well, it's not accidental because OpenAI has partnered with Microsoft to create and adapt and expand ChatGPT. So there's the similarities with those. So why I put in red summarizing, it can summarize, but paraphrasing, when you ask these tools to paraphrase, it's really hit or miss because particularly in scientific writing or any particular academic discipline or scientific discipline, these tools really kind of miss in the nuance. Okay, so some comparisons. I compared ChatGPT with Microsoft Copilot. This is a moving target again, and as of this week, I can say, kind of jokingly, um, the language models, limited access to GPT 4.0 is on the free tier, whereas, excuse me, GPT 3.5 is the basic introduction that we all first saw last year. So in Microsoft Copilot, however, it's running on GPT-4. So there's a bit of an advantage there with Microsoft Copilot over ChatGPT. Now, GPT 4.0 on the free tier uh, will only last a bit long. I think they give you a limit. They give you a limit on the number of uses that you can have for free GPT-4 when you're on 3.5. Then they kick you back to GPT 3.5, whereas Microsoft Copilot is on 4. So in terms of the information accuracy, only GPT-4 can actually access the internet free, and 3.5, of course. Their most recent data in there, I think the last I looked was late 2021. So you don't have recency with the free 3.5. Microsoft Copilot almost always consults the internet for up-to-date information. No payment required if you're using it in Microsoft Copilot. So the platforms and availability for ChatGPT, you've got that both on web and mobile apps. Microsoft Copilot, you've got a few more options besides the web and mobile apps, Edge browser, and other Microsoft services and device and programs. Here's another interesting thing on the chat modes. ChatGPT doesn't really have any defined chat modes. And over here on the right, I have more information. Microsoft Copilot, you have 3 modes. When you first open it up and start asking your questions, you're going to have a choice where you can select one of these 3 modes: creative, balanced, or precise. Again, with ChatGPT, you don't have that. You have to do your best to work your prompts so that it's as clear as you can possibly make it in terms of the tone and the mode that you want. So what does creative, balanced, and precise actually mean? Within Microsoft Copilot, more creative generates responses that are imaginative, pardon my language here, and innovative. The style is useful when you want to generate content such as images, songs, short stories, etc. More balanced, this helps you receive responses that are informative and engaging. It's useful for most scenarios, especially for responses that are factual and interesting. More precise, that's essentially more academic. Generates responses that are rigorous and intelligent. Style is useful when the user has complex prompts that prioritize accuracy over creativity. An example I have here is like with coding. So the response length, typically ChatGPT is very, very chatty. You'll get long creative responses versus Microsoft Copilot, where you'll get shorter informational responses, kind of bulleted. So the bottom line here is that ChatGPT's factual accuracy and creative skills do fall slightly behind Copilot if you're on the 3.5 model. So again, using these tools will help you be able to appreciate that more than just listening to it here in a summary that I'm presenting. So I realize that the type font here is a little bit small, but I'll do my best to kind of help you get the gist of that. What this is screenshots of both Copilot and ChatGPT to the same exact question, medical question that I asked, and that's up in the right-hand corner under you, me. So my question was the role of epigenetics in cancer development and treatment. I wanted these tools to help suggest some subtopics that I could write on. So on the left-hand pane is Copilot's response. It's pretty brief. See if I can pull that out of the way. There we go. So we have four subtopics that Copilot gave versus the middle column and the right-hand column. This was ChatGPT's response to me. And I know visually you're saying, wow, why would anybody use Copilot? Well, look at all that ChatGPT is giving us here. Well, it's beyond the visual here. Copilot, again, is keyed into ChatGPT 4.0, so it's able to search the internet for more currency. So that's a big key right there. Whereas ChatGPT on the 3.5, you're limited to information that's a couple of years old or so. Another factor that may be helpful and useful is sometimes ChatGPT's response may be a little bit too much. You're looking for just the main topic areas, and so that's why you see these four here. So Copilot is much more focused, though it's not dense like ChatGPT. So ChatGPT and Copilot both cover the same areas of content here in terms of topically. My suggestion is for you to use both. Use Copilot if you're just looking for a more expanded look at this, and Copilot and then ChatGPT can help you with maybe some refinements within those larger topic areas. So again, like when I'm teaching on the medical librarian side, when I'm working in workshops on research and using databases, I typically will say, don't be satisfied with the first result that you get. Refine it, rework it. Take a look at the results and see if you can rephrase. Remember Kyle's presentation from last scholarly snippets. Okay, why is Grammarly in here with Copilot and ChatGPT? Well, Grammarly is AI. Grammarly is a self-contained AI, however. It's not reaching out into news groups. It's not reaching out into websites. It's self-contained, and yet it's still using a level of artificial intelligence to be able to provide you with the responses that you need. So Grammarly is a digital writing assistant that helps users improve their writing by providing real-time grammar, spelling, punctuation, and style suggestions. It can't generate ideas for you, unlike the other tools. So it offers features like tone detection, which is similar to Copilot, which I just showed you, vocabulary enhancement, and plagiarism detection. You could actually use Grammarly to detect ChatGPT plagiarism. And Grammarly is available as a browser extension, a desktop app, and an add-in for word processor. So it uses advanced algorithms and natural language processing to analyze your text and provide feedback. So Grammarly, again, that's a subscription-based tool. Many institutions have that. There are many students which also have their own subscription. The last workshop that I gave actually was an orientation session. I asked the students to raise their hands if they use Grammarly. I don't think anyone's hand was not raised. So our students are very familiar with this. So their plagiarism detector may not be as good as some academic built-in tools, such as those that you might find in Blackboard, but it can, as I mentioned earlier, pinpoint some ChatGPT plagiarism. And content creation, again, it's limited to writing suggestions in the form of tone, voice, audience, among others. But unlike proofreading tools that you would find, say, in Microsoft Word for many years, you can obtain full sentence rewrites. That's the AI part of Grammarly. So again, Grammarly has challenges like all of our tools. It has limited contextual understanding. It can struggle very often with nuanced writing styles or specific industries terminologies, e.g. health sciences. It doesn't always get that. It's unable to replace a writer or generate ideas. Here, the third bullet point is a bit concerning. You can get false positives and negatives. Grammarly can occasionally highlight perfectly fine sentences as errors or can miss certain mistakes. And take a glance over on the right-hand side of the screen here. This is an example. It's basically an email, but it really has messed this up. It says, "Hi, Susan, you can meet with the tutor in person or online, and the appointment can happen during evening hours. If you make a special appointment, please use the same link you used to schedule other cybersecurity tutoring." Grammarly says another cybersecurity tutoring, which is totally not the context here at all. So Grammarly gets an F on this particular suggestion, according to your friendly medical writing assistant, such as myself. So in the last, as with our AI tools, ChatGPT, privacy concerns. Grammarly stores user data, which has raised privacy concerns among some users. So, for instance, when I did that ChatGPT investigation of myself, now that I put my name out there, it's going to remember what I asked of it. All right, for your handy reading at leisure, I have a bibliography, which I use to help me develop this particular workshop. These are all, of course, very current articles, and they're really very helpful and informative. I encourage you to take a read when you get a chance. And I think that's it. There's 5 questions in chat. Now that may be just programmatic.
Kevin, so the main question I see so far is about AI detector, which you mentioned Grammarly can do some of that.
Yes.
And I know some of the products, they've been, some of the vendors have been trying to sell, hey, our thing can find, AI generated stuff. So I've heard from some vendors about that. But.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and reappear, hopefully. Okay, here I am. That is a great question. And there are various claims by these plagiarism trackers. Oh yes, we've got a handle on this. We can follow them, but really, it's a constant race at this point. There is no plagiarism detector that is always up to date on plagiarism. So, we just utilize the tools that are available to you. Another factor that I have found is indispensable is your professional expertise as an educator, as a researcher. Don't surrender these tools to your brain. If you know your students in particular, I have students come to me with writing samples and drafts, and I can pick it out. I can pick out quite a bit of it. So now I'll ask them, I said, "So did you use ChatGPT?" Most of them, they'll sheepishly say, "Oh, well, yes." So there are tools that are available. It's definitely a race. I'm not recommending any particular tool one over the other, but that's about as far as I think as I can answer that. Is there an elaboration or like a secondary question to that?
I don't see another thing. The other thing is people want your slides. So if you send me your slides after this, I will put them on the YouTube page with you.
Yes, I
just
promise.
send them to me.
Okay, I'll send them to you, and then you can distribute. All right. Any other questions or comments? In the questions, I said, what is your favorite AI tool? Does anybody have anything other than these 3 tools that I was mentioning that you think really need to mention?
I personally have used Perplexity some. It's one that's trying to focus more on scientific, like actually using actual citations. So that one's one that I think could be good for the scientific
Hmm.
user.
Perplexity, where is that obtained from?
Perplexity.ai, yeah. I'll pop the link into the chat.
Someone mentioned SciSpace. Let me see if I can get into
Oh yeah,
chat here.
SciSpace is good too, yes.
Yeah. I'll pull up the chat here. Okay. Perplexity. A lot of votes for Perplexity. SciSpace. Isabel AI. I have not used Isabel.
Hmm.
Claude and Gemini. Oh, there is a Google AI tool. I was going to cover that here, but IT departments are really particular. So, yeah, you have to, in some organizations, you really have to jump through the hoops and justify what it is and see if you can get access. So I'm like, I'm not going to bother with a 20-minute presentation with all of that. If I can't show the tool, then there's no point in it. I use it on my home laptop. Does anyone use AI for question generation?
We have, for like our user satisfaction survey, it gave us some ideas for rewording things.
Okay. Yeah, I know, of course, this is just on the writing end of AI, but of course, obviously, it's hugely used in research as well, radiology in particular. So that's a topic for a clinician to cover, not your humble writer here. Was this good? Was this useful? Any other comments or
I
questions?
think so. Somebody asked if UpToDate uses AI. As far as I'm aware, UpToDate has not yet tried to integrate AI.
There are a number of tools, and if you want to know that question, go to that website, the tracker. That pretty much is a comprehensive list. As of this moment, I say this moment, as of recently, there are over 100 AI tools of various types, clinical, um, generative AI for text, images and such. And so the list keeps growing, keeps growing. Mindy, your previous comment, I missed what that was.
So, a significant number of the built-in tools are troubling from the perspective of building long-lasting skills that promote creativity and discipline in generating ideas and interpreting data.
Yes, that's an number one concern of educators, and I sympathize with that. I haven't read on it extensively, but I've read a couple of articles uh, with educators trying to grapple with that and to figure out what they need to do reinforcement. I don't know what the technical term of it is, but I'd mentioned where the students are asked to regurgitate the AI responses and to break it down and to require the students to say why did the AI come up with this response? So that's one of the ways. I'm sure there's probably a few others. But yes, I mean, the concern is real, but the fact of the matter is, folks, it's here. They use it.
I kind of look at it like when UpToDate came around and there was a
Yes.
freak out about, oh, they're not going to have all this stuff memorized.
Mhm.
And that's a legitimate concern, but UpToDate's here. It's not going anywhere.
It is. And we had the same issue here initially with Grammarly. I was in on some of the conversations with that, and there was a lot of hand wringing. You never hear a peep. I haven't heard a peep about Grammarly. Grammarly is AI. So these are tools, these are useful. There are caveats with them, of course, but I think on the whole, they are very, very useful and helpful. And if educators can figure out ways for the students to engage in the responses, to force them, to make them understand these tools and why they came up with these answers, if the students can diagnose these answers, then that's at least a step in the right direction. Some programs, of course, obviously, students, in terms of adding coursework just on AI and programming, a lot of institutions don't have that kind of freedom. They don't have that kind of um, ability to pivot like that. But from what I understand, if it's added in as a component within an existing course, that can at least begin the process of having the students uh, interact with these AI tools.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Mindy.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much. This was incredibly interesting and helpful. I just want to say that the approach of critiquing the AI narrative is not the same as being able to generate your own ideas and interpret your own data. It's just not. It's like
Right.
submit a manuscript and you've got 3 reviewers critiquing you and looking for every fault that exists in the universe. And yet they're not the ones that are, creating the study and generating the data. So I just find this incredibly problematic because at the very core of mentoring, up and coming scientists and medical students, any kind of students, is trying to get them to ask questions and to narrow down those questions and define how they're going to answer those questions. All these things that require creativity and discipline. And I just really worry about the long-term effects of this. And for this, we would need the neuropsychologist, I think, to
Such is
really.
true.
I don't know how you would set this study up because you don't have a good control group for it.
Right.
Obviously, everybody's using it. But what is the effect on brain development, basic
Exactly.
skill development? What about all the incredible writers that love to write?
Right.
The
Well,
Nobel Pulitzer Prize winning people. Like,
yes, I understand. One of the other suggestions that I read was to have computer-free labs.
right. The Blue Book
Yep.
essay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but but it's the point you made earlier, Kevin, which is it's so critical to go back and read over and read over and read over, put time between each of your drafts. So if you're taking an examination, in the classroom in a blue book, you don't have that opportunity. You've got to get it done. So,
Yeah.
We got a comment in from Thomas. I find that it could also be helpful for students in breaking down hard to digest concepts, so it can help with accessibility too. I know sometimes that has, because you can upload an article and have ChatGPT like spit out a summary that's a bit more comprehensive if you're not fully understanding the concept in layman's terms.
Layman's terms.
it's sort of like the old debate over the Cliff Notes, remember? Did you read the book or did you read the Cliff Notes? And what's the difference?
Yeah.
I think also policies are essential in terms of the usage of AI. So nailing it down, corralling it a bit, is possible with institutional policies. So I think that should be top plate. When I've been participating in the discussion groups, which seems to we haven't had any of those in some time. They seem to have kind of like vanished a bit. But I was always harping on we need to develop specific policies for AI and sub-specific policies, depending upon the discipline of the course uh, or the framework of study. So I think that's really essential for our institution and all institutions to develop a policy, because you know what, students are already ahead of us in many instances. No, we have to be on the top of this.
All right. So we're a little over, so I guess I will wrap this up, but it's been a great discussion, so I didn't want to stop it. So thank you everyone who was able to come live. We will be uploading to YouTube in a little while. I am putting in the chat a link to our survey and our next scholarly snippets. We're taking the summer off. So the next one will be in September. I will actually be doing it. PubMed tips and tricks beyond the search. So not stuff about searching, but other things like my NCBI and creating alerts and stuff like that. Thank you everyone for coming and for your participation and ideas. Really appreciate it. This was very popular.
Yes, thank you. It was great.
Showing. So yeah. So.
Well, thank you, everyone. And for the PowerPoint, please reach out to now, Karen, you have your email address? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can put my email. Yeah, once you send those to me, I can send those out. And like I said, I will be adding them to the YouTube page.
Sounds good.
So.
All right. I'll send that right out.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.